Hello and welcome to another edition of the One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm great. Two victories this week,
Yeah.
Union and Union 2, both win. And, both things to talk about with both matches, which we'll get into. But overall, no complaints this week.
Yeah. Union pick up another 3 points. Union 2 1. And yeah, what more can we say?
Now, on today's episode, we're going to talk about Union 2 continuing to roll over NYCFC 2. And that's now two straight wins. Two straight wins again for the
Hmm.
Union, as well as they continue their dominance over DC United. Talk about Kids Day.
Hmm.
Um, let's talk about the first 10 matches of the year because I think there's a lot of discussion there for the
Hmm.
first team.
Yeah, we will.
And then also we're going to talk about potential busy May.
Yes, we will be at Subaru Park a lot during that span of time, I think.
So yeah, but before we get started, what are we wearing today?
Well, since it was Kids Day yesterday, I am wearing the Kick Childhood Cancer shirt from
Oh,
last year. So I thought that was a really cute shirt. So yeah. How
all
about you,
right.
Kyle?
I'm wearing what I wore in the press box last night. Literally have the same because I wear my pants 2 days in a row.
Bad as some of my students that
I know I am. I
do
know.
that.
But no, I actually am just wearing my one of my favorite
Yeah.
hood
It
tops
is
and
nice top though.
it's very comfortable this time of the year with the wind. Underneath it I have the Cobra Kai shirt on, but it's red, so we're not gonna wear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
No red allowed.
So where can people find us?
Find us wherever you get your podcasts, as well as our website, theoneteamweagreeon.com, our YouTube channel, and you can find us on socials at TOTWAG on Twitter and Blue Sky. We're also on Facebook and Instagram at The One Team We Agree On. Find us on our individual accounts. I'm at silly double underscore Jilly on Twitter and on Instagram, and I'm on Blue Sky at Jillian Almany, and you are at Coach Almany at um Instagram and
Yeah.
Twitter and Blue Sky, everywhere.
And shout out because yesterday I finally met Sexy Hoagie and her fiance.
Yes,
That was really nice. So shout out to you both. Um, and that was just really cool because they're like, "Oh my gosh, hey,
it's
everybody!"
funny when you finally meet people
But
that
yeah,
you've interacted
no.
online,
So I just wanted
So
to give them
it's
a shout
I'm
out.
sorry I missed yeah, but that's
No,
awesome.
and then also our friend Dave Rook.
We had our friend who coaches swimming. Also, he joined us. So I was in the stands with him.
So let's talk about it. Philadelphia keeps rolling now. We were down. I was down training on Thursday. Talked to Ryan.
Hmm.
And then, this is going to be a good contest. Obviously, Union will be below NYCFC 2.
Hmm.
However, by the end of the night again, Union threw up 4 goals
Yes.
and win 4-1. And, you know, goals by Sal Olivas, Stas Kordazanowski, Nick Periano, and Giovanni Scaro gets in.
Finally got in, and he made the most of his time with a banger of a goal, like top
Yeah.
bins. Like that was such an awesome goal. Uh,
And it goes back to what Kyle the baby was talking about. Seriously, you see the untapped potential with the kid.
that's why they, went ahead and brought him back.
Yeah, on loan, but still, I think it was smart business by them. You
Hmm.
want to see more by him, but there's the potential. But also, you know, Ryan talked about wanting to press more. I thought the Union did a really good job in the midfield pressing, creating those turnovers.
Hmm.
This is one of the matches I watched. Now you came home in the second half
Hmm.
because I was off that night, so I was able to watch the whole match. But my thought was during the first like probably 70 minutes, I was like, they get New York City would get a chance here and there.
Hmm.
But for the most part, it was kind of like, okay, you need to score more goals. I was more frustrated.
There could have definitely been more
Yeah,
goals even.
there was more frustration with the lack of goals being scored than are they going to drop some points on the road?
Yeah, even before the red card happened.
Yeah, even before that. I mean, Neil Pierre goes down early on. Everybody's like, "Oh, oh no," but he comes back out.
Hmm.
I mean, and then talk about, you now shot NYCFC 19-4. I
Yeah.
mean, that just shows the dominance of what Richter and company were able to do in that match.
Yeah, this was definitely a week of just dominance, honestly, by both squads, by Union and Union 2. So that was great to see. And yeah, Union 2 were really pressing. They were bringing it. And this was something that we didn't quite see at the beginning of the season there, but now it's starting to look like it's really clicking and that they're playing like themselves.
And Ryan talked about that with me in the article I
Hmm.
share that honestly, this week, and I asked him, I said, start, stop, start, stop.
Hmm.
And he doesn't like it. He's like, I want to play. The kids want to play.
Hmm.
Everybody wants to play. However, he was talking about the shape, when to press, when not to
Hmm.
press. Um, Carnell brings this up we'll talk about that later with the first team. But when the cues are, and it was just about more forming their shape, their
Hmm.
structure, and keeping that press going at the appropriate times. And I think that's something where everybody's like talks about press, but there's a certain point where you need to press, and there's a certain point you need to back off. And I thought that on the night they did a very good job with that. So there's definitely improvement. One thing I will say, the Union were unlucky not to get another clean sheet. They give
Hmm.
up that late goal.
Yeah.
And here's my concern at the moment, because I see them building the form in the attack. My only concern with the second team is in 3 out of the 5 games they played so far this year, again, it's early in the
Hmm.
season, they've conceded goals in the 85th minute or beyond. And two of those three, Huntsville, now that
Hmm.
was his 63rd, but like the Red Bulls,
Hmm.
those kind of goals late in games against quality teams in the second level, we've seen it. We'll
Hmm.
come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate. And the thing was, Andrew Rick, he made a couple really nice saves.
Hmm.
But he overall didn't have to do nearly as much, especially
No.
once, you know, um, NYCFC, they get a red card right at the end of the first half, basically. Which that whole thing, Sal gets fouled and Sal picks up yellow in the process too. But like, it was a dumb red card on NYC's part, honestly.
It was really dumb.
But so I mean, Union 2 are playing up a man the whole second half. And so yeah, you expect, okay, they're gonna get some more goals and everything. That's good. But yeah, a little mistake there cost them the clean sheet, which is unfortunate.
And we saw against Atlanta United too, up a
Yeah,
man, and they concede, Ramsey gives up that late um PK.
right.
So it's just the little things there.
Just gotta clean that up a little.
No, is it like, oh my gosh, they're not, I mean, no, I think they're fine.
Yeah, I think so.
I just think they need to tighten that up a little bit and figure that out. And if I get down to training this week, I want to talk to Ryan about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because is there something there defensively, especially in the second half when you make those substitutions that you want to see from that second squad? It's a fair point.
Yeah. And I do want to remark, I thought that, they have a lot of talent that they can bring in on that because, we were wondering, okay, what's Ryan going to do with the forwards in the game?
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like right now he's going with Stas and Sal,
Hmm.
and then brings in Marcus and Eddie.
Now bring in those two against tired legs,
Oh, it's great. I would like to
but
see the exact opposite. I'd like to see them
hmm
bring in those two. They're in a perfect storm right now
yeah,
where, like, even Ryan told me, I
hmm
asked him this question point blank, and
yeah,
I don't think I brought that up in the interview, but he's like, look, it's competition.
right.
Having said that, looking at training, I still think Marcus and Eddie are the better pair to start the
Hmm.
game. But I see where Ryan wants to go, and that's fair.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm never going to question a
for
head
sure.
coach because
For sure.
he's there every day. I'm not. I'm there once a week, if that.
Right.
So, having said that, yeah, sure. I mean, and then talking with Eddie, Eddie
Hmm.
understands that he just wants to make an impact, and
Yeah.
that's what Ryan's told him.
Yeah.
Make that impact, and they did.
They did. They definitely did. And I like the energy they bring in, and it'll be interesting to see what the lineup we'll get into it what the lineup's going to be in the next game, but
Yeah.
I think Ryan's got a good problem to have in that he has this depth, he has these options, and depending on maybe matchups and whatnot, he could play around with that a little bit. But one I did think, and I know you shared this sentiment, um, Uzcategui. Like,
Oh, Rafael
oh my
Uzcategui,
gosh, he's been
he
really, really solid.
defensively he has been solid.
Hmm.
I've been very impressed. Has sang his praises. I
Hmm.
mean, you see why the Union brought the guy in. I mean, for a second team player valued at $500,000,
Hmm.
now it's transfer market, but at the same time, it means valued at that price. He's had a very good stretch. Now he fell out of favor with the Venezuelan youth national team. He hasn't made a start, but maybe this is a start to
Yeah.
rejolt his career with
Yeah.
the national team. And who knows where that leads? I mean, we saw that with Bueno.
Hmm.
We saw that with Jose Martinez.
Yep.
I mean, those are the kind of things that can springboard a player's career. So I think offensively, he lacks a little bit yet, but defensively, man,
Hmm.
I mean, you could almost argue he brings more value than McConaughey does defensively. Now, McConaughey's going against better quality now, bringing up first team, but I'm talking about McConaughey from 2023.
Yeah.
2024, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So 2023 McConaughey, he didn't even play. 2024 McConaughey, you know, but
Yeah.
you get my point.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah. No, I agree. And that pairing with Neil has been
It's
good.
great.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been great. And I think Gavin maybe hasn't had that jump to this date. Now, again, it's only 5 games that we'd hoped he'd see.
Hmm.
Isaiah LaFleur has been up and back, good and bad. There's
Yeah.
times he's gotten cooked, but then you see him with what he brings offensively.
Yeah. Like he'll have some real bright spots and then he'll have some blunders. It's just kind of inconsistent still as he's getting back in the groove.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's good.
Hmm.
Um, but I think now, they're currently in seventh place in the East. I think the biggest thing for me is the huge challenge they have ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going against undefeated Chattanooga
Hmm. On the
and
road.
on the road. And this is going to be an interesting matchup. And let's talk about this
Yes.
matchup.
Yeah, because they have a big issue.
Yes, they do against the best team.
So, the first team, Union, they play at Montreal on Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
Hmm.
And Union 2 play at Chattanooga on Saturday at 7 p.m. So, the big question is, okay, who's going to be making the trip with the first team? Who's the second team going to have? What kind of options are they going to have? And, Ryan talked about, the challenges of just like when they play right before the first team plays, like the day before. So like when they played Huntsville,
Yeah.
before Miami, that's hard enough as is. But here you have the matches on the same day, and it's like, okay, well, you know, I think that we could see Neil Pierre once again going with the first team, you know.
I think so. Neil, no
Um,
Kevin.
Cavan.
And then is CJ or David? Probably David.
Also, does Andrew Rick go with the first team as the
Andrew,
backup?
yeah, he's gonna
Yeah.
have to. I mean,
So,
so you probably see Zemla because
mhm.
Zemla was on the bench tonight,
No,
last night.
no. Um,
Um, you're also, I don't know. I mean, do you add another striker like a Probably not Stas. Stas will be there. Sal will be there. Eddie will be there. Marcus will be there. My question is, okay, so you're now without your best center back, and you're
Hmm.
out probably out your best midfielder.
Yep.
Is that a promotion for Kellen?
I think it's a big chance for Kellen, honestly.
Do you bring, so I'm thinking you go, I mean, my question is, do you go Gavin, Uzkateki, maybe bring in one of the young right backs?
You could see, Gavin's played at center back, and then Nick Pariano's played
Or does,
at right back. He's
or is, is
they've
it
moved him around
Ramsey?
there. Yeah,
Is it
there's Ramsey.
Ramsey?
Ramsey might be
You
right in
got
there.
Oscar.
Yep. So there's options.
There are
You can move him around.
options.
It's just it'll be interesting to see what Ryan does with that because yeah, that is a challenge, and so and
Well,
against a tough opponent.
I mean, a tough opponent doesn't give up goals.
Yeah. But hey, this is a chance for, someone to step up maybe.
Yeah, I mean, to Chattanooga's credit, they win a lot of tight games.
Hmm.
Defensively, they're very sound. Um, Having said that, this will be an interesting challenge. Without your full pairing, what does that look like? So, something to keep an eye on. And yeah, but moving on, let's talk about Kids Day at Subaru Park.
Yeah, so we had a day game, 4:30 start. Of course, the weather was, iffy going into this, and yeah. The rain didn't really happen until the game had started, so they were able to do the festivities. So, of course, you had Sons of Ben doing some kids' activities.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were having, the capos. They were having kids learn the chants, and they had some kids do capoing during the
Mhm.
game, so involved them with that. And on the plaza, whenever they had things like face painting and other activities for the kids.
It was really busy when we were walking through there
Yeah, there
because
was
we
a
went
going
through
on.
there with Jimmy and Mike Barrera, and then we met with Todd and Ricky um, at the dog park.
Yeah.
They also had the dog park.
So yeah, they had the pet adoption event. They have a whole bunch of rescues from the area come and they bring a bunch of the dogs and, all these adoptable dogs and you can, meet and greet with them. And, I do love when they do that. As someone who has had rescue dogs and now rescue cats. And so I think that's great. I like that whole partnership they have with that. And so we always make a point to go in and see the dogs. I personally am very drawn to the Huskies. I very partial to them. No, I had a German Shepherd Husky mix growing up and best dog. But here's some yeah, we have some photos here to share for all from the Sons of Ben.
Jeremy put together a nice little t-shirt.
Yeah, so we had the Kid Capo shirt there. So that was nice. There's the front of it. It says faithful to the end. So that was really nice.
And
Hey,
then they actually on the other side had the
on the sleeve there.
yeah,
Yeah,
so we had that, and then on the other side you had the Sons of Ben logo.
nice.
So that was that.
Okay. And there's the dog adoption event. We have the
And there's my
plus.
bald head.
Yep.
So if you look closely by the color, there's my bald head.
You said it, I didn't.
I mean, I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then walked in. You see a lot of dogs here.
Mm-hmm.
They had little
They
dogs.
had all kinds of dogs. Little dogs. They had like pit bulls. They had here's one of the huskies. And this husky was loving the belly rubs.
Oh,
Um
that dog was, and he was yapping too.
well, they do that.
Yes. And then,
So that particular one was Arctic Spirit Rescue. So there's their information if you're interested in that. Just to, point out one of them, but there's lots of great rescues. This dog was great. Okay, this
yeah,
dog's name is Baloo, and he's huge, like
massive.
huge dog.
Mike Rare's like, I don't even know if he fit in my house.
I think that dog was bigger than Mike.
Wow. Shout to
Shout out,
Mike.
Mike. I mean,
I mean,
that dog's
uh,
big.
I wonder.
That dog was big
I
and
mean, it might
so
be
fluffy,
bigger.
so
It might be
fluffy.
bigger than Mike.
Like seemed like a real, sweet dog though. So
Yeah. Oh, very happy dog.
Yes, and then there was some little dogs that had. There's one that had the hot dog little outfit on.
I mean, that was the whole thing. I was like telling everybody that came in, like, look, there's a dog in a hot dog
Yes.
costume.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we know our cats
Oh,
would be
if we
like,
put anything on them, they're like, "What are you doing?"
yeah, this dog's like loving life.
Yeah.
And then
And
there's the picture of
that's
us.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
before we headed in.
yeah.
So, yeah, overall, I thought it was great.
Mhm.
I did like that the kids got let's talk about the banging the drum.
Yeah, so oh, I meant to send you that too. But anyway, yeah, they brought out the players' kids to bang the drum, and
I thought that was
that was
nice.
nice. Yeah, a whole bunch of them, Kai's kids, Jacob's kids, I think Mikkel's, Andre's, a whole bunch of them. And Andre's son was the one to actually bang the drum. He did a good job. Like everyone around me was like, he did a really, really good job. Like better than a lot of the adults that do that.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around.
I know. I'm like, well, I think you've seen it. He's probably seen it done enough.
Yeah.
But no, so shout out to him because yeah, he brought it on that.
Yeah, and the best part, I was up in the press box watching this, was all they had the little scarf with all the kids. I think it was Jacob's kids and everybody and a
Yeah.
couple other ones. And when they were like doing that, they all started going like when after they were like that, and then when they were walking out, they were like and they were all like
Yeah.
they're all excited.
They're having the best time.
And then like Mikkel's like waving at his daughter, waving his daughter like, "Hey," and
Yeah.
she's like, he kept waving. I'm like, she's like, "Hey."
Yeah. But no, that was really cute.
It was cute just to see like
Yeah.
Jacob, Mikkel, a couple others just waving at their kids like,
Yeah.
"Hey," and they're
Yeah.
all like excited to see their dad.
Yeah. Yeah. The players' kids are adorable. Like I always love the interactions. I miss the Goz dogs. That like their kids, really nice kids
Yeah,
too. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I thought that was really nice. They didn't really do a whole lot in game for like because I know they've done like
they did like backyard baseball last year,
yeah,
and
yeah,
like
like with the
Todd and
play
I were
games.
talking about that.
That was
Like
cool. That was really
that
fun
was
last year.
cool. And they've also done just like kid like stick figures. Like there was that they play like remember the one time I think it was
Yeah.
2022 they were playing Baby Shark, like
Yeah.
they were playing like a lot of the kids
Yeah.
things.
Oh, and they did have a giveaway
Yeah,
when you went in. There was Captain's armband that they were giving away
for
so
14 and under.
for the kids, yeah.
So,
So,
um so anyway, let's talk about it. Match recap, Union win 3-0, second consecutive clean sheet and 10 clean sheets in 5 clean sheets in
5
10
clean sheets out of their 10 games. So,
games. Yeah.
yeah.
With the win, you remain unbeaten at home against DC United since 2015.
2014. Yeah.
Well, it says 15, but I'm pretty sure looking back, it's 2014.
I pretty sure even they said on the broadcast 2014. So
Yeah, so
at least it's been a while.
it's been a
It's
while.
been over
It's
10
been
years.
almost 10, it's
Hmm.
been 10 years.
Hmm.
Union's 79 goals against DC is the most against any other team in club history. 19 goals on the season and a 10 goal differential through 10 matches.
Which, by the way, is second,
Yes,
and it's the
but
best for the Eastern Conference.
so we were sitting there in the meeting room, and I'm up on me being a nerd, just sitting up there looking at the standings, and I should have taught this. I'm like this. And then you saw the assists mark that the Union put out. There's first in goals,
For
first in assists.
they're
At the
not at the time. Now they're
and
not
now,
first in
no,
goals, but
but at the
at
time
the
of the
time
match, it
they're
was
still
early.
first in assists right now, though.
Yeah, so I think there's some good things there.
Yeah,
Um, as good as that all sounds, I'm going to start with the positive sandwich.
things I've taught you being a
Yeah,
teacher.
it felt like the weather mimicked the play on the field in the first half. And I want to get into this and we'll talk about it a little bit more. I want to get
Hmm.
Bradley's thoughts on this. And Bradley addressed this because we were talking about that during the whole first half. Um, just said, "Oh,
Oh,
wait,
and actually, before we get into that too, so I wanted to point out when
thank you."
I went into the stadium and I was walking around the concourse, I noticed this is the first time I've seen it open, and maybe it's been open before, just I didn't go over that way the last game, but the Commodore I saw was open, and so that's that like kind of exclusive lounge for people who pay for the expensive seats, pretty much to go into, and it was pretty empty at the time, but just a little view in there like the whole bar kind of situation they got going on there.
And that was the drum.
And then yeah, there's the kids are out there to bang the drum and it was kind of gloomy out, looked like it was about to rain, of course, when the game started. And then it did start raining shortly after. So um
Uh,
but
uh, Let me get
yes.
to Bradley's.
Yeah.
Happy Kids Day. Was a very tough game, very tough first half for us, and we had to weather a couple of storms, and we kind of knew exactly what they were going to offer us, and played exactly according to that. But I don't think we dealt very well with it in the first half. So, we just corrected a few things in the second half and showed a little bit of film of how we can mitigate some of the damage and limit it. But I think the goal that we scored in the first half just sort of calmed everything down in a very choppy, scrappy game, and and I think we could show in the second half, with the type of quality that we can create and the type of movements, the type of depth that we have in the roster, that everyone that comes in can create an impact, and that was fun to watch.
All right. So thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, the first half was except for of course the goal, but yeah, it's DC really could have had their chances and everything too, but all in all, the game was fun to watch, as Bradley said.
I
Later.
I mean, I think the first half, and I wrote this in my article. I mean, up until so let's talk about the goal first, all right?
Yeah, let's talk about it because
Because up
this
until
was
that
really, really
point,
good.
there was a couple plays where DC could have struck first,
Yep.
and you just, whether it's the weather, the rain started coming down,
Yeah.
they just were not like they were almost too bunched up.
Hmm.
They weren't like, opening up the channels. The passes weren't there.
Yeah.
However, after that, Frankie makes that run down the pitch off
Hmm.
the restart and crosses in. Jacob blasts it in, and and everybody's like, "Hey, great."
Yeah, yeah. I want to talk about that because so they get a throw in deep
Yeah.
on in the DC territory, and Frankie takes the throw in, and they set it up like it was going to be a long throw, but
Yeah.
then they went short.
They went
It
short,
goes and it goes to Indy, right, and
and
then
Indy
back to right
bounced
back
it
to
back.
Frankie, and
Frankie,
and what a cross by Frankie! Like wow, all the right to Jacob's foot where he hits the volley.
and in the post match, you heard it.
Yeah,
Jacob said like he thought it was going to Quinn,
yeah.
and he's telling Quinn like, "Hold off, hold off, hold off," and like you said, just perfectly spot blasted in. And Jacob, I guess, one of the other comments he would make is like, "How many bangers do you make?" Somebody asked him that in training. I was one of the new guys, and he just I think as much as we say shoot, and you're like, okay, and then he says the crossbar, every time when he hits that ball right, it is a banger.
It
Jacob
is.
only does bangers.
Yeah, yeah. But when that happened, I mean, my goodness, I had a wonderful view of that too. And man, like the angle I got to see it from, just perfection. Um,
Still not as good as the one I had view from. I know, but anyway,
I had to see that one from my phone while I was on the pool deck. We're talking about the playoff banger.
but anyway,
Anyway,
um,
so yeah, I mean, I thought that was fantastic. I mean, I will say that that was just really skillful. And the, I mean, I was going back and watching the broadcast, and boy, were they giving Frankie his flowers on that broadcast,
oh, it was a
and
great ball.
deservedly so. Like just wow, yeah, and it makes you think, okay, what's gonna happen when the center back situation is more resolved? Like if Jan comes back or whatever, like is he gonna keep putting Frankie out there and moving Nate over, or where's that leave Bizo too? It makes you think.
Well, I
But it's
think
just like,
Biles is going to be the backup, and maybe he
yeah,
gets moved during the off season or summer.
yeah.
But
But at
and
this,
that's a valid
yeah.
point.
But at this point, it's like, how do you not put Frankie in there
Right. I still
with
think
how
you
he's playing?
go more Nate
Oh
because of
yeah.
the defensive
Uh-huh.
play. And, I mean, he hasn't shown as much this year with his offensive
But
creation, but
he's very skilled.
he is. And I still think Nate's over Frankie, but you got some decisions there. And
They do.
that's a good
It's a
problem.
very good problem to have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so people are like, oh, you got to keep Frankie in. Well, of course you got to keep Frankie in, but
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Nate, at some point you're chasing a goal
Hmm.
or you need somebody. I mean, there's options there. And
Yeah.
so,
But yeah, so that
I mean, it was
was,
great to
yeah.
see. Union still were not clicking after that goal. They did settle
No.
down, but DC kept pressing and they kept pressing. And you get to half, and a couple people were sitting up there in the media going, oh, Andre Blake did what Andre Blake needs to do.
Yep.
But here's DC missing Benteke, missing
Hmm.
oh my gosh, what's his name?
Peglow.
Peglo, missing their two top scorers. I mean,
Yeah.
if they're in this game, it could easily be 2-0.
Yeah.
I mean 2-1.
Yeah. On the other hand, I feel like the Union in the past have done a good job of containing Benteke. Like, for
They
whatever reason, they
have.
really have. But even so, hey, you just got to play the team that's in front of you. And so yeah, they're missing those guys, but all right. Union did the job they need to do, but the first half, yeah, when they just have that one goalie thinking, okay, when's that equalizer gonna come, Because
We've
DC
seen
was
it a
getting
million
their
times.
chances. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we saw it a million times. Like Todd and I were like, wait a minute. And then even Mike Brere's over there inside next to us going, they're working too hard right
Yeah.
now to keep this lead. And I'm like, yeah. And there was a lot of times in that first half where you're thinking a goal is going to
Oh,
come.
there was like who was it? It was one-on-one with Andre like
Oh,
there and he
Dom
skied it over.
Badgie just shot
Yeah,
it in
like
net.
if he just settles that for a second and shoots it, he's probably getting a goal.
Benteke finishes that. There's no
Yeah.
question
Oh
about that.
yeah.
And that's what we're going at. Like,
Hmm.
Benteke finishes that. So you go into half thinking, okay, what's going on? And again, I'm going to bring up another point. Until Bruno Damiani comes on,
Hmm.
Ty Baribo, we give him his flowers. I
Yeah.
mean, he is critical for the Union.
Yes.
But on this match, he wasn't getting the touches that he needed, and he really wasn't bringing anything offensively.
No, I think Mikkel was, definitely the stronger of the two on the day.
He was, but
But
again,
bringing
Mikel hasn't
Bruno
had a
was
goal, and we're talking to Dave Lennon after the match. He's had one goal since you go back to September, October. I mean, he's had one goal in this span from September to now.
Mhm.
He's had one goal. So, yeah, he still brings a lot, but you pay your striker to score. And
Right.
I'm the biggest advocate for Mikel.
Yeah.
And I even said to you, we watched the match earlier today. You see the heart. You see when Bruno
Hmm.
scores that goal, he gives him the biggest hug. He's
Yeah.
locked in.
Yeah.
I need to see that from him. If he's not scoring, he needs to keep contributing. So,
Yeah.
second half comes out,
Yep.
and back and forth a little bit, but then here comes a nice pass to Quinn Sullivan.
Hmm.
Danley, Jean-Jacques drives it in and
Yeah.
beats the goalkeeper
Yeah, he
for,
nutmegged one of the defenders and
yeah,
beat
I
the
mean, it
goalkeeper
was
on
a
the right post.
great pass from Quinn to set it up.
Hmm.
And again, that comes off of a restart set turnover actually and the transition. So that's that 60-30-10 that Carnell wants to see. That he talks about the principles, the
Hmm.
philosophy. That's a goal.
Yeah.
That in this system. With that, I mean, he's tallied 30 goals and assists in MLS play. He's becomes the youngest player in Union history to reach that. I
Hmm.
mean, and now he leads MLS still? Does he still lead MLS in assists?
Yeah, I think he's tied with like
Okay,
at
okay,
least two other people. I think
okay.
he's tied.
So he's
Yeah.
still tied.
Yeah.
But
So he is making a case for himself, like for national team and stuff, the way he's been playing.
Absolutely,
Like,
absolutely.
and
But
yeah,
also now you're starting to see the confidence from the midfield.
yeah.
You got Lukic with two.
Hmm.
Didn't play in this match because of the red card.
Yeah.
Now Danley with two.
Stanley with the goal like 2 games in a
They're
row. It's fantastic.
and now they're head McCall and they're tied with Danley, which brings up a point. Do we have a problem at forward? I don't think we do.
Mm-mm.
I think it's just the where it is. Do to be successful and make a true run,
Hmm.
do the forwards need to be scoring? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can't be relying on this, and I'll talk about that in a little bit later, but you can't be relying on this all season. You gotta have your forwards scoring goals. However, this is awesome to see.
Oh yeah.
You want to see more contributions. Jacob, um, I'll pull it up later. But anyway, then off another research, Jacob Blessness finds Mikel.
Hmm.
Mikel, nice header.
Hmm.
I don't think he pushed off. We've watched the replay several times. He has his hand outstretched,
Hmm.
but he kind of falls back. I think maybe a skill ref or somebody inexperienced might. Was it? Who knows? Anyway, that ball falls to Damiani. Damiani powers through the defender and knocks in basically the go home goal, makes it 3-0. And you're thinking to yourself, all right, there's that goal.
Yeah, and backing up a moment, like first of all, I thought it was kind of funny the juxtaposition you have. Um, you have Cavan and you have Bruno subbing in together.
Yeah,
Someone who bodies people and someone who gets bodied.
that
Um,
is a very good point.
and both very skilled, but just Kevin's 15 and he's, still growing. But I just thought it was kind of funny. But, and to Kevin, he has some great ball skills. He can create, he has good hustle on the field and everything. But, yeah, he gets bodied sometimes. But then you have Bruno on that goal, and my goodness, like number one, he needed that. And you know, just that ball from Mikel and Bruno's, he does a full spin with a defender like all over him, literally
Literally trying to pull him
like
down.
pulling on him, and he just muscles his way, basically does a 360 there and boots it into the goal. And I mean, fantastic. I thought all three goals were really skilled goals, like really great goals, honestly.
Absolutely.
That one was
And
phenomenal.
after the match, Bruno said, he's happy here. He's
Mhm.
thankful for his teammates. He's thankful for everybody.
Mhm.
Um,
You could see it on his face, like
oh yeah,
on.
he plays with intensity. Like I told you, rewatching the game, you know, I'm familiar with that game because that's kind of like the guy's a competitor.
Hmm.
You need that. You need that dog up top, as I like to say. He's a dog. I mean,
He got
dude,
that dog in him.
he does. He does. Um, but with Ua, he earned his 100th career start, so congratulations to
Hmm.
Mikel. Becomes the 20th player in club history to reach that milestone.
Hmm.
And with the assists, he's tied with Borik Dukai. No, I know this guy, Borik Dukai, for 10th most assists, 18 in Union history.
Mm,
So
nice.
somebody's probably going to cook me on I know the guy's name. I like, okay. Anyway,
So,
I want to say something about that.
yeah.
Mikel's fifth in all time
Hmm.
in goals.
Yeah.
Now he's top 10. I mean, he's top 10 right now in both categories. Now
Hmm.
that can change within time. It can go a lot worse for a lot of other clubs that we've seen big mega buck signings that have
Hmm.
not worked out.
Yep.
I will
Look
say
at
this to
look
the
at Atlanta, how much they've
I will
spent.
say this to the Mikel haters. You want to see the more goals. I will give you that. I will
Yeah.
give
Oh, for
you
sure.
that, bang the table and say you're right on that. The guy hasn't had an awful career in Philadelphia.
No, and he was a huge part of that 2022 run.
So you give him his flowers for that. Do you expect more? Sure. That's a fair point.
That's fair.
Um, Finishing up the night, let's talk about Andre.
Yes.
Andre earns his 80th MLS career clean sheet now. It's 80th. And I know people are like, wait a minute, didn't he just celebrate 100 clean sheets? Yes, that was career-wise.
Yeah.
MLS, he becomes the second youngest player to reach 80 clean sheets.
Yep.
Now, I want to share
And this is
this.
for regular season MLS play.
Yes. I want to share
Just
this.
behind Brad Kazan.
I want to share this because this is impressive company here.
Yeah.
You got Brad Gazan did it 2 games earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Then you probably have the greatest goalkeeper in MLS history, Nick Romando.
Mm-hmm.
80 goals. Andre
Mm-hmm.
beats him by 9.
Yeah.
Bill Hammond, John Bush, Stephen Fry, still playing.
Mm-hmm.
And El Gato, Kevin Hartman, the
Mm-hmm.
cat. You just look at those numbers.
Yeah.
And Tyler and I were talking about this. Like by the end of the day, he could be very well one of the top 3 greatest goalkeepers. So fans,
Mm-hmm.
again, we get frustrated. But if Andre stays healthy,
Mm-hmm. What a
this is a
difference maker he
playoff
is.
team.
Yeah.
There's no question. This team, and this it'll segue into what we want to talk about. But
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah. No, that's really impressive of Andre. And it just shows you like really how valuable he is. And, you know, I will say he should have been MVP in 2022. He is by far the team's MVP, along with I would say Kai. Like
Yeah.
those two. You see like when Kai was missing from the game, they didn't do as well. I mean, and you take Andre out and it's a huge, huge um, gaping,
But hey,
absence there. But
at the end of the day, the Union win.
Union won. And it was sunny out. Like for yeah, later in the
That's
game
what I
it
said. It
got
was a
sunny out.
tale of two halves. It was
It really
raining,
was.
everything, and then the sun opened up. Union.
And I dried off because I was soaked
Hmm,
because I was not in the press box for the game.
we were
But
getting rained on too.
were you?
Yeah, the wind was blowing
Yeah,
in.
well, anyway, yeah, it was nice and everyone was happy and yeah, the Union got the win. Jacob got to bang the drum at the end. So,
So
and
let's.
and Jesus Bueno started the game, which was great to see
And
because
he was good on the day.
yeah, yeah,
I want to see more Bueno.
yes.
I do. I think he's a very nice defensive sub to bring in if you're up a goal.
Yeah, because no bueno is no bueno.
But anyway, here's Cornell's thoughts at the end of the game.
Yeah, it's massive, right? We want to win our home games and get points on the road, and I think that's the key to success and key to make a good start, an excellent start in the season. And I think we're on the right track. I think there's still things that we showed in the first half we can do better. It's by no means a polished final product, and we're working every day at it. But even it takes me back to New York City in a bad, not a great performance. We lose the game, but I felt we could have walked away with a tie. So as long as there's no kind of I would say moments in the game that we give up ourselves or like we haven't been outplayed, I would say, you know what I mean. So we've always remained competitive in each of the opponents that we've faced, and we've had to ride some storms and battle some some duels and battles and what have you, but at the end the team's functioning as a group. Yeah.
Yep. Good team win.
It was. So the reason I brought that up, we'll get into this. Again, the Union can beat the teams they're supposed to beat.
Yeah.
Last year they didn't.
No, they didn't. And we had said before the Atlanta and DC matches, you need to go and beat both those teams. They're at home
They
against
need
two
to
teams
get
that are
7 points.
struggling.
And right now it's 6 with Montreal in hand.
Yeah, and they've got Montreal who is at the bottom of the table. Like you don't want to be the team that lets Montreal turn around their season.
No, I think
Kick them when they're down. What was that? My dad used to say, like kick. He used to say something like "kick them when they're down" or something.
right, but it's a true
Yeah.
point. Like right now, last year, and we don't like to talk about the past like Cornell.
Yeah.
However, Union would find a way to maybe get a point at home,
Mm-hmm.
and it's tough. The margins are razor thin, and that's not a knock on Jim.
But he was right.
They are razor thin, but right now the Union are being the teams they
On the
should.
right side of it
Yeah.
being razor thin.
Now, the question is, can they beat the Columbus Crew? Can they beat a Cincinnati that is coming into form? Can they beat Vancouver on the road? Can they beat Inter Miami back here in Chester? Can they
God, I hope
beat
so.
if Atlanta finds a form in Atlanta? Can they beat Columbus in Columbus? Like, you see where I'm going with this? Like,
Yeah.
can you beat Charlotte? Charlotte fell, but
Charlotte did, yeah, Charlotte
Charlotte
got
fell. But
beat in
now,
their
can
own
you?
stadium.
And then Nashville puts up 7 on Chicago.
I mean, two were
Can you
PKs, but
can you beat Nashville in Nashville? I mean,
that,
can you beat these
yes.
teams? Dax McCarty brought up a great thing on the wrap up. MLS will humble you.
Hmm.
And MLS will humble you during the season. You will go through good and bad. We all know
Hmm.
this. They still got what, 24 games left in the season?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, there's gonna be highs and lows. If the Union, but this getting these points will go a long way come October when they're trying to get playoff position. If they stay healthy, they will try to be a playoff. This is a playoff team.
Yeah.
The question is that we need to see, can they beat those teams? You don't have Gazdag. Julian Carranza is not walking through the door. Jose Martinez is not walking through the door. Where are those pieces? And
Mhm.
that's the thing. Is Indiana Vasilov the creator? No.
I mean, he
He's a
was,
worker,
yeah,
but he's not a creator.
right. Yeah.
So where are we getting that creation from the midfield? Quinn?
Kevin. I'm just kidding.
Quinn? Quinn's one of them,
Quinn,
but we
yes.
need another person. And
Gavin.
again, I'm gonna
Was
go back and
that's
say
what some people will say.
you make that Gazdag deal 10 out of 10 and once on Sundays. Anytime. That's a
Hmm.
no-brainer. Jack and Glenn trade, no-brainer. As
Yeah.
much as you want to say, do we miss him? Sure. But it's good business. And somebody's going to cook me for that, but it is good business.
Well, and let's let's remind ourselves about how it was 2 games ago. This team sucks again, blah blah blah, and oh, like the fan base was like so negative and everything, and it's like,
And now
and then look what happens with winning. It's just, I think, you
I
know,
think we all agree. We all talked about it.
like it's tough when you,
2 games against
but,
two inferior opponents
hmm,
makes Ernst look good.
yeah,
It makes Ernst look very, very good.
yeah,
Because now that you could say, oh, well, this is what Ernst's talking about.
yeah,
It's kind of like a storefront. The storefront looks nice, flashy, and you go in, and you're like, this isn't as nice as we thought. There are still areas this team can improve on.
yeah.
And we'll see what they do in the summer window. But right now, let's enjoy this. This was a very good win that we didn't see all the time last year. Again, not
Yeah.
knock on Jim.
But yeah, they have 4 home wins now, which is the most,
More
that's how many they had all season last year.
exactly. So, hey, so let's talk about that. And shout out to Jim Curtin.
Hmm.
He always used to say, you know where you stand in the first 8 to 10 games in the season. As a coach, I agree with that. Like
Hmm.
when I would look at my squad, usually around October, November, I knew what kind of team we had.
Yeah.
We had to work and build, and maybe we get a good runner. This team could be special, and we got to push forward. But where do you feel this team is?
Yeah, I honestly think that, like, they're in a good spot, I think. I mean, yeah, they have some things to keep working on for sure, but they're showing that they can really, score goals, first of all. We've seen they can score goals except for at NYC. But,
Which is
like,
why, like when you said that, I'm like, oh,
I mean,
you didn't compete in that one.
there were a couple games, yeah, they didn't score much, but they can when they're firing all cylinders, when they're clicking.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. I think that's huge. So, and when you have Andre Blake healthy, what a difference maker. So, oh, I
Uh,
mean,
no, you
yeah,
hit the nail on the
there's
head.
lots of reasons to be positive about them right now.
No, there really, really is. There's a lot of talent, and there's still like the CJ Olneys, the David Vasquez's. we're not even talking about Sal and Eddie. Now, we'll probably see these guys in the Open Cup.
Maybe. Yeah.
We'll see. Marcus Anderson,
Yeah, I'd love to see Marcus get a shot, maybe in the Open Cup or something.
something like that.
Yeah.
There are players here. Now, does his team feel incomplete? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could add another creative midfielder, like somebody replace the goals the guys that gave up. Also, somebody that can create. Would you love to see a guy that was assist goal scoring machine like an Evander or
Mm-hmm.
like a Costa? Like you would love to see that midfielder. Will you go out and get that? Probably not, but just get somebody that can create a little bit more. And then maybe get another center back or at least a veteran presence in there
Mm-hmm.
that if Neil's not ready yet, which is fine, he can still continue to develop, but allow Makanya more time as well,
Yeah.
and somebody you can alternate in because you can't rely on Nathan Harrell all the time.
No.
Um, so that's where I stand on this. I think is this a playoff team? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, if everybody stays healthy, this is a playoff team.
Yeah.
I think that this is going to be maybe a team trying to get a fourth, fifth, sixth, like fourth to sixth.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if things go a little south, they go down to seventh. Worst case, the floor's a playing game, but
Yeah.
they're going to make the playoffs, I think. It just depends. You'd love to see them sneak into that fourth.
Yeah, I think at the moment they're in third, but that's before Miami plays, and
Yeah.
Miami has like, game in hand on.
So anyway, let's talk about the potentially busy May schedule.
Yes.
So real quick, let's review. So the last 5 games, Union picked up. I had 7 points. Union picked up 7 points.
There you go.
I still think you left a little points on the table. Maybe, obviously, Orlando and NYCFC.
Yeah.
But other than that, they were fine. So when we look at May, you got at Montreal.
Do you still think that, do you think Montreal's going to get their first win of the season against the Union?
I don't. I thought
Maybe a
because
draw.
they made the playoffs last year when we did this, and we didn't
Hmm.
think that they would fire their head coach this
They
early.
seem to be kind of punting on the season already.
Yeah, they could be. So we'll see where that is. Um, then they have a very dangerous USL side, Indy 11.
Hmm. Wednesday match. And again, we've said it before. Okay, people show up. Okay, people wanted the Open Cup, show up.
And shout out to Jose, because Jose brought up a good point with Todd last week.
Hmm.
Did Union go for the US Open Cup?
They
Because
should.
do you just punt on Columbus? Do you punt on Miami? Go for the other games and just try and make a run and get that CONCACAF spot. Because a lot of MLS teams might be punting on that. And I mean,
Hmm. It's a trophy. And
I am not opposed to them saying, you know what, we're going for the Open Cup and go all in. Go for it.
yeah,
Go for it. Give the fans what they want and just go for it. And maybe this is your easiest path to get back to the CONCACAF Champions Cup
yeah,
because
yeah,
that's where the big money's at. And
yeah,
there's more big money this year than there has been in years past in the U.S. Open Cup. So there's incentives now. So, well, I'm curious to see.
yeah, absolutely. It will be interesting to see because how they balance out the lineup and everything with that. So,
We'll see.
but yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things. You could play 45-45 and
Hmm.
try to hold on. But then after that, you got Columbus. Um, whew, I,
Columbus at home.
I would take a draw at that. I
Yeah,
would take that draw.
that'll be interesting. Do you think Gazdag scores in that?
Absolutely.
I think he does.
I
But
think.
I hope I'm wrong. But
Um, then once that following Wednesday, you get the MLS Cup champs, LA Galaxy,
who are in shambles right now?
but they're still the LA Galaxy, and they still
But
have
there's some good.
talent.
Yeah.
And John McCarthy could probably come back. And then you go to Atlanta again, are in shambles, but it's Atlanta.
On their turf.
Yeah. So And then you got another Open Cup game, and then old man, well,
Hmm.
Messi and friends come in, but
The circus.
even they, Vancouver exposed them.
Yeah, like they really did. That was a good game to watch. And
Now Vancouver's really been very good this year,
yeah, but they exposed like how like dog poop there, to put it nicely, that Miami's defense can be.
but we saw that
Yeah.
in Miami. You and I saw
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
Their defense is not good.
Yeah.
They just have so much offensive firepower that it's like you have to compete up with some of the best in the
Hmm.
sports history.
Because like you make a mistake and they will punish you. Like
They will punish you hard.
all of a sudden there's Messi going for, a
Yeah.
goal or whatever.
Having said that, I'm very conservatively giving 5 points. I think there's more points to be had here. I
Yeah.
think a very good month.
There's a lot of Wednesdays in
I
May.
mean, we're
Whew.
basically at
There's like a game
Superman
every
Park.
month, Wednesday
Yeah,
pretty
there's
much.
there's 2 games every month this week. Then in June it kind of, and then you kind of even after that you're at Toronto, at Dallas,
Hmm.
so you're on the road that week, and then you're off, and there's only 3 games in June.
Yeah.
So,
Go figure when I'm finally done school and yeah.
but the good news is, you know, there's some time to get down there, get to talk to players, and
Yes, I'm looking forward to summer break, as I know a lot of people are.
my expectation for this month is 5 points. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. But I hope it's more because
Well, I would. I mean, I have both the other 2 matches. Dallas and Toronto's lost, so it is 5 points. I would go with a solid. I want to see 11 points in this month.
yeah, 11 points would be fantastic.
It would be. So we're gonna close out of that,
Hmm.
and we're gonna wrap up here. So Union Two are on the road this coming Saturday, 7 p.m. versus Chattanooga.
Hmm.
Philadelphia Union head on the road to play CF Montreal.
Yep.
If you're heading out and up to Montreal, we talked to a few of you guys on Saturday,
Hmm.
yesterday. We love Montreal.
Yeah, we had a great time. We've been up there two
Where
times.
do you want to see people check out? I'm always
Hmm.
writing a travel article. I'll have one coming out this week. Where do you want to see people check out? Give me just a
Okay.
couple of
Well, I
recommendations.
think you have to, if you go up there, you got to go to the botanical gardens.
Right.
They are fantastic. We spent a lot of time there and it's gorgeous. So definitely you got to go there. I think that honestly, it's just great kind of walking around. I was talking to Jimmy King yesterday about like how I'm just like you can just like walk around Philly and just like, see the different random things going on and
Yeah.
stuff. And I think it's kind of fun to do that in a city. Like, go do that in Montreal. We did that a bit. There's little like cafes and bars and different places to check out.
Breweries.
Breweries, yeah. We found some good food spots. Of course, we ate poutine. While you're there, get some poutine, obviously. Um, we really enjoyed the in English it's Happy Cat Cafe. So
And there's an amusement park there.
yes, and La Ronde, if you're into amusement parks, La Ronde is the Six Flags. It's on an island in the St. Lawrence River there, and it's a smaller Six Flags park, but it was a lot of fun. So we went there last season after the game, like the day after the game. So
Yeah, and then also you got the Biodome.
Biodome was really cool. I definitely recommend that.
I would go back there again. You
Yeah.
still don't see the links.
Hmm.
Links are
Yeah.
sleeping.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. So definitely, some things worth
And
seeing.
there's some good
You go down,
breweries. There's
yeah.
breweries.
Yeah, and the old part of Montreal is really cool to go see.
Yeah, Notre Dame's great.
Yeah.
But what about where the bagels?
Yeah, we got some oh, so yeah, when we were there, we got some really good bagels.
What's the name of that place we stayed at with my mom and Uncle Dennis and all them?
We stayed at you know,
No, where that village area? What's it called?
Mile End.
Mile End. You need to go to Mile End. Mile End's a cool part of town.
Yeah, we had
There's
some fantastic
breweries,
Thai food there.
amazing Thai food. There's other.
All kinds
Uh,
of like different cuisine
there's the
there.
Tiki Bar there, which
The
I'll
tiki
put.
bar, yeah.
Tiki Bar is amazing. Yeah, go go there because I like that place.
Yeah, and honestly, a great way to get around is just use like the subway system because it's very, efficient. It's very clean when you think about like
And
you
there
didn't
was that deli.
yeah. Um but I have to say like this, it's that city's fairly clean. It's like, you go into Subway in Philly and all you smell is human piss. All right.
Wow, you went hard there.
And I love Philly, but my God, like there's been times where I'm like, oh my God, I need to like get out of this
Find
area quick.
somebody's like, yes, I agree with you, Jillian. But no,
Yeah.
enjoy if you're going up. Enjoy
Yeah.
Montreal. Um, we'll have some articles coming out. Jillian's going to take care of the second team. I'm going to take care of the first team this week. Um, but before we get out of there, you got something there you brought up.
Well, you wanted to.
Yeah, let's talk
Okay,
about.
so
So we got some cards,
and to be fair, Kyle, you're the one who's into the cards.
but
So,
we did pull some cards.
yeah, and I
Why?
want to hear you say this player's name.
No, you're not going to hear me say it. So why don't you show who we got?
Okay. All right, you're gonna make me try to say his name. Because if I'm being honest, it's Long Wayne.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Minnesota
Anyway,
striker.
yeah. So anyway, from Minnesota, we got Cassius Mailula.
Yep,
Okay. South African. Yes.
yep.
On Toronto FC. All right. We've got Nuhu from Seattle. We got
Who's that?
you're not gonna say, you really are not going to
Now you
say
know my
names.
pain. Now you know my pain.
No. Nimfasha Berchamas.
Yes.
Okay. You purposely picked these cards, didn't you? You purposely. Oh my God. Kyle, you purposely gave me like all the hard ones.
I did.
I see what you did there. Oh my
Now
God.
you know my pain.
All right, Marinas, Sionis.
Yes.
So there you go.
I had Diego Rossi,
You kept all the easy ones. I see.
Preston Judd,
Okay.
and green card. We have
Flat Earther.
John Tolkien.
Yeah.
So yes, I gave you all the hard cards. So now you know my struggle. Touche.
Yeah. And hey, by the way, on our last
We
podcast, I was correct in that one player's name was Aiden. Just saying.
yes, you were. And
See? You know
yeah,
what?
so hey,
Yeah.
no, we had
Just
some
saying.
fun there. But anyway, stay tuned for more great content coming out. We got another YouTube player in the works. We got a couple coaches coming up as well. So stay tuned in the next month or so.
Yeah, we've had a lot of articles out lately, so check out our website, oneteamweagreeon.com because we've been putting a lot of content out there with both teams. What?
I was laughing at you. You were like, you gave me all the hard cards.
Like you totally yeah, it
Anyway,
took me a second to
anyway.
realize what you did there.
Yeah, anyway.
But no, check out our articles, and we appreciate people that have been doing that and subscribing and all of that. So we do appreciate it very much.
And until next time, I'm Kyle.
I'm Jillian, and make sure you like and subscribe as well if you haven't yet, and follow us on our socials. And yeah, keep interacting with us because we appreciate it.
We do.
Yes.
And we'll see you at the game.